Hello again and welcome to another episode of I Want to Talk About This Album. And before I get to today's episode, I want to take a minute or two, or maybe more, at the top of the show, the top of the episode, to talk about this what's turned into a full-blown Rush tour. You know, it started out as just a few cities, and it's become a full tour. And I want to talk about that a little bit. So they announced this initial run of shows. It was two dates each in, I don't know, there were I think 7 cities: Toronto, New York, Chicago, LA, I can't remember what else, Philadelphia maybe, something like that. And only one show in Mexico City. And then due to popular demand, they added 2 shows in each of those cities. So let's start there. I don't like that. They know that they're going to add the show. I think it's bullshit for these bands or promoters to make it seem like they're waiting. They're testing the waters. They're waiting to see how many tickets they're going to sell. I think they know how many tickets they're going to sell. They've got all the dates blocked out. I mean, blocked. They've got the dates kept in mind. They know they're going to do them. And now this first part is a smaller thing. So many people, I'm sure, bought tickets to, for example, the first night in whatever, Toronto, New York, LA, whatever. And then they announced 2 shows later, and then maybe the people go, oh, you know what? It would have been much more convenient for me to go to the 4th show instead of the first show. Maybe the 4th show falls on a Saturday, the first show is on a Sunday, you know, something like that. That's a minor thing, but it is a thing. People end up buying tickets, and it's kind of their own fault. Too many people have this fear of missing out complex, or that you only live once complex, which both are ridiculous. Then, as if that was not bad enough, the ticket prices were astronomical. And I'm going to get to that when I talk about this, when I make my next point about this Rush tour. So then after 2 weeks or something, I don't know, the Rush select cities, those 7 select cities, it became a full-blown tour. So now they're doing 58 shows. You know, they're doing the 2 shows, 4 shows in those cities that I mentioned before, and then I think 2 shows in many, many other cities. So what started as what looked like it was going to be, oh my God, this is like a, you know, they're only doing, I guess 14 shows. Wow, it's unbelievable. Better get my tickets. And then they're doing 28 or 27 shows. Okay, well, that's still not very many, so I better get my my tickets soon. And now it's become a full-blown 58, I believe, is the number of day tour. Now this is the biggest pile of crap. As an example, imagine you live in Detroit, and Detroit is about maybe 3.5 hours to drive to Toronto. I think about maybe 5 hours to Chicago. I've made that drive between Toronto and Chicago, and Detroit is kind of close to the middle, a little bit closer to Toronto. How many people, and again, it is kind of their own, I guess, impulses that are leading to this. People don't want to miss out. So there are people, and I'll use Detroit as an example. People in Detroit, they bought tickets for Toronto thinking, oh, I got to see them in Toronto or Chicago, one or the other. And then those tickets go on sale. Then the second round of tickets go on sale for the 3rd and 4th shows. And then a week or whatever it was later, they announce, hey, we're also going to play Detroit. I think that's bullshit, man. People are, you know, now committed to going to either Toronto or Chicago. And again, I know they didn't have to buy those tickets, but you know, it's obviously they're selling more tickets because people from Detroit bought tickets to Toronto or Chicago. Now they'll probably also buy tickets to Detroit if you're rich enough. And I feel like that. I hope that's not going to be the new trend, that bands kind of announce, you know, a handful of dates to make people say, oh my God, I gotta go, I don't want to miss this. And then when everybody's got their tickets and all the shows are sold out, they announce more and people buy more tickets. I think there would be a big difference in ticket sales if they had announced all 58 shows at the same time. I think people would have been more selective about choosing their tickets. I'm sure many people, and I was just using Detroit as an example there, I'm sure there are many people who live in other parts of the country. My good friend Kevin Montavon, who I talk about all the time on this channel, now he didn't buy tickets. He's the biggest Rush fan I've ever met. And he said even for him, tickets were way too expensive, at least at the beginning. He's a good bargain hunter. He knows how to get tickets. You know, he doesn't panic at the beginning. He'll go the day of the show or the night before the show or something, and get much, much cheaper tickets, which is what everybody should do. But, he was originally going to go to Detroit. He lives in Columbus, Ohio. Sorry, he was going to go to Cleveland. Now he's got more options. So fortunately for him, he did not buy tickets, but I'm sure many people got burned by buying tickets to a show that was closest to them, and then they announced show or shows closer. That's a problem, and I don't like that. The other thing is ticket prices. And I was very excited about this Rush, what's now become a tour, these Rush shows. And I'm not even a Rush fan, but I thought I missed my chance to see them when they were around for decades, but now I'm going to see them. But as soon as I heard the ticket prices, I was out. I lost interest very, very quickly. Now, today, as I'm recording this on Monday, October 27th, Iron Maiden announced a show in Mexico City a couple days ago. They're not playing until October. That's another thing. But tickets go on sale, I think, on Friday this week, something like that. And they announced ticket prices were announced today. The lowest Rush ticket is, and I'm just going to say this in Mexican pesos. You can, if you want to convert it to your own currency, you can do that. That doesn't really matter. All you have to focus on is the numbers. So the cheapest, and I'll use the cheapest as an example because that's the only tickets that I buy. The cheapest Rush tickets were 1,711 pesos. 1,711 pesos. That's a lot. That's, when I saw that price, I thought, I'm out. No way I'm spending that much on the cheapest concert ticket. Iron Maiden announced their ticket prices today. Well, that's another thing. The bands don't really announce, or the promoters don't really announce. It's like, here's, in the old days, when I was your age, you son of a bitch, tickets cost a nickel. It wasn't like that. But, it used to be that they would announce a show and they would say tickets are $20, $24, and $30, or whatever it was. Now they just announce tickets. They go and sell this day. They don't announce the prices. And then everybody's surprised because they have this dynamic pricing. This is going on much longer than I thought. This maybe should have been its own episode. And I will get to Tank, Filth, Hounds of Hades. And so today, Iron Maiden ticket prices were announced. The cheapest tickets, 967 pesos. Both of these examples, Rush, 1,711, Iron Maiden, 967. Both of those include Ticketmaster bullshit service charges, which are just going crazier. They're now up to like 25% of the ticket price for absolutely nothing, for the privilege of buying a ticket. So again, forget about the conversion. Simple numbers will tell you that 967 Iron Maiden, cheapest ticket, to 1,711 Rush, that's almost double. Rush tickets are almost double the price of Iron Maiden tickets. Or you could look at it the other way, Iron Maiden tickets are almost half of what Rush tickets cost. And I guess my point in all this is how quickly I gained interest in Rush and how quickly I lost interest in Rush. And I know I'm in the minority. A lot of people bought these tickets. People were spending thousands of dollars on Rush tickets. I don't get it. People really, really need to control themselves and stop, spending stupid prices for 2 hours of entertainment. I just can't justify that. $967 for Iron Maiden. That's a fair price. I will go see Iron Maiden for I think that'll be my 14th time seeing them. 11th time in Mexico City. All right. That is all. Not for this episode. The episode is going to start now. So today I'm going to talk about Tank, Filth, Hounds of Hades, and I've got it right here. And speaking of prices, this was very, very nicely priced. I got this only a couple of weeks ago, and it was, I think, just about, and it's new, as you can see, it's still wrapped up. This is just about the cheapest new record I've ever bought. This was only, I think it was 408 pesos, something like that. Great deal, so I bought it. Now, I've never talked about Tank before, so I will talk about them now. I don't have too much to say about Tank. They're an old school, maybe some would say new wave of British heavy metal band. Yeah. And this is the first Tank purchase I've ever made. I'd never bought any of their records at the time, never bought any of their CDs since then. I forgot to move back. I'll stay here. Am I in frame? I think I'm okay. Maybe I can come a little bit closer. Come on a little bit closer. Now, my good friend Jeff Simpsons, much like Kevin Montavon, who I've talked about many, many times, he and his brother, his older brother, When I was in high school, junior high, I guess, I met Jeff in grade 8, as Americans say, 8th grade. And he and his brother were Tank fans. His brother was, and Jeff, they were into Saxon and Iron Maiden, of course, and I think Tigers of Pantang and some other of those, new wave of British heavy metal bands. I never really got into them too much. I knew of them through Jeff Simpson's. So I remember being at his house and listening to Tank records, including this one, Filth, Hounds of Hades. I think it's their first record. I do believe it is their first record. I know it came out in 1982. And I remember being at Jeff Simpson's house and listening to it. And for whatever reason, it just never connected with me. But I did love, there's one song that he and I used to always reference if we were at school, like passing each other in the halls. You know, when you're a kid, you do stupid things, or you have stupid little, habits or things you do with your friends. And there was one song that when we used to, pass each other in the hallway at school or whatever, we used to kind of sing this song to each other and, do this. You can maybe guess what that song is, and I'll talk about when I get to it. But that's it for Tank. I never saw them live. I don't ever remember them, my neighbor, I don't remember them ever coming to Toronto, where I lived at the time, and don't really know what happened to Tank after that. I really don't know too much about them. I know Algie Ward is the singer, and I know they're a three-piece. The other two guys, I don't know their names, but I know they're brothers, the drummer and the was Algie the bass player, or he's the singer? I can't remember if he played bass or guitar. I should know that, but I don't. Anyway, the other two guys were brothers. I can't remember their names. I think they're Gabby or Gabs, something like that. I don't know. But when I've listened to this album a couple of times, well, twice today and a couple of times in the last few weeks, and I did download this about a couple of years ago, maybe. So I've had it on my phone for a while, listened to some songs here and there, but I really enjoyed it. You have a different perspective when you're 56 now. It's my birthday next week, so I'll say I'm 56. When you're 56 compared to when you're 13, you see things differently. Some things you liked then you don't like now. Some things you didn't like then you like now. And I really, really enjoyed listening to this Tank record, Filth, Hounds of Hades, today and in recent days. All right, so I will open it, and I did kind of pre-cut it here. It's very tightly sealed. I pre-cut it so I wouldn't have to mess around with bringing my little knife, because I have to bring a backpack up here to the roof, and sometimes I forget to pack everything that I need for my trip, and this is harder to open than I thought. I should have made the hole a little bit bigger. How embarrassing. God, I'm standing up here struggling mightily. I will get it. The hole is I can't get my my fingernail under. There we go. Okay, I think I got it. If I can, yes, okay, it is open. All right, all right. That sounded like Matthew McConaughey there. Let me put this. Oh, and I didn't show the hype sticker. There it is, the hype sticker. It says limited edition, only 500 made. Simulation only, so there's a picture of it there. Simulation only, actual product may vary. May contain a Saxon record. And it's on red marbled vinyl, which may vary. And I will put the cellophane down there, make sure it doesn't blow away and create garbage. So there it is. And this has several album covers. I remember the original one was blue with the yellow logo. That logo sucked. I think the original logo sucked. That's a great logo. That's really, really cool. That's an excellent heavy metal logo. I like the black and white and red too. The other one was blue, and the logo was yellow. The wolves were I don't know what color they were, maroon or something. And then there was another one that was blue with this logo, but in yellow. And I think then on that one, the wolves were in maroon, something like that. They were different in different countries. This is the one I have, and there it is. This does have a couple of bonus tracks. Now, I do know that these two bonus tracks, when this, because when I bought this, I checked it out, and it originally came, when this originally came out in 1982, it came with a 7-inch was included, which had these two songs, Don't Walk Away And the Snake, they were on a 7-inch and came with the record, and they've included it on here. So let me take a look and see what the record looks like. All right, there it is. No lyrics, but decent packaging anyway. Some kind of cool photos. And they toured with Motorhead. Oh, and I should mention also, this was produced by Fast Eddie, Motorhead guitarist Fast Eddie. There he is there, horizontal, being held aloft by the members of Tank. And there's Lemmy. They were really playing the Motorhead card. In '82, Motorhead was, really kind of coming into their own. There's Lemmy again. Two more. Oh my God, you'd think Lemmy was in the band. There's 3 pictures of Lemmy and 1 of Fast Eddie. There's Lemmy. And oh yeah, there's Lemmy down there too. So 3 pictures of Lemmy. And let's see what the record itself looks like. It is red marble. It's nice looking. And I've come around on that. When I first started doing these episodes and doing records and buying records, I said, I don't really care about colored records. Black is fine. Who cares? You're not going to watch them spinning around as I shouldn't do that. I might get dizzy and fall off the roof. But I like the colored records. And that's nice for a change. Again, I don't watch it, but I guess you get that 2 seconds of taking it out and you put it on, and it looks cool to see red. All right. So I will put this back in its proper sleeve, and I will now go through it track by track. Of course, I did need notes because I'm largely unfamiliar with this record. Okay, Tank, Filth, Hounds of Hades. The first song is called Shell Shock. It starts with these really pounding, kind of tribal, real heavy metal drums, and this the chant of oompa, oompa, oompa. I don't know if that's it, oompa, oompa, or unka, unka, something like that. Kind of builds up, and then the song comes in, and it's wakey, wakey. Oh yeah, let me check if Algie Ward is he does he play bass, or any Tank fans out there? Oh, Algie Ward is the bass. This is funny. I don't know if this is a misprint or not bass, but brass. I'm surprised it doesn't say trout. So Algie Ward, played bass. So he yells the wakey, wakey, and it's very fast. It's very riffing, and it's very. There's going to be a theme throughout these songs. It's very Motorhead-esque or Motorhead-ish. Now, I don't know if a lot of people will they see the name Fast Eddie Clarke. Oh, he's in Motorhead, so the band must sound like Motorhead, which is not always true, but it is true in this case because Tank really do. Or really does sound like Motorhead. Not necessarily sonically, but they have the same style. They're very fast. To me, they're more, I would say they're less new wave of British heavy metal. I guess just the fact that they're British, they got called new wave of British heavy metal. But I think they sound closer, much, much closer to, and I guess Motorhead were considered by some to be new wave of British heavy metal. But to me, Tank sounds much more slightly punky in places just because they play so fast. And I always think of Saxon, and as I mentioned, Tigers of Pantang. I don't think they sound anything like that. But yeah, Shell Shock is an excellent song. This is a very good record, I think. Next is Struck by Lightning, also very fast, very, maybe, I don't know, proto-thrash maybe, and also very Motorhead. Number 3 is Run Like Hell. Now, there's a band, I've talked about this band before. I've never done an episode of them. But there's a great band that I've seen live, 26. Whoops, there goes the cellophane. I'm still here. Whoops. Let me put this away. Oh, how unprofessional. This band, and I saw them in August, Mexican band called The Rising Sun. I've seen them, that was their last show that I saw in August. I ended up seeing them 26 or 27 times, something like that. Their singer, Larry, for me, on the vocals on Run Like Hell really sound, I'm not saying that The Rising Sun sounds like Tank, and I'm not even necessarily saying that Larry sounds like Algie Ward, but he does on this song, or he brings Algie Ward's vocals on here, made me think of Larry from The Rising Sun. And so this song is, it's up tempo, but it's not fast like Motorhead fast, like the first 2 songs, Shell Shock and Run Like Hell. Shell Shock and Struck by Lightning. That was Run Like Hell I was talking about. Next is Blood, Guts, and Beer. Now, this is the one that I mentioned earlier that my friend Jeff Simpsons and I used to, always just say to each other as we were walking past each other, blood, guts, and beer, just singing that. I didn't know all the lyrics, and I don't think Jeff did either. But we always knew that blood, guts, and beer, what's inside me? What's inside me? He's asking you, what's inside me? And the answer is blood, guts, and beer. Pretty good, and pretty true, I guess. Very, very in spirit, I think. Maybe not sonically, but this is a very kind of a punky song. This is, and during the verses, really, really, especially the bass sound, really, really more than the other two sounds like Motorhead. And there's a part here, you gotta get out, that's repeated through the song, I think towards the end of the song. And that brought to mind, there's a great Ice-T record called OG, Original Gangster. I did an episode of that a couple years ago. And there's a song on OG, Original Gangster, called Escape from the Killing Fields. I don't know if Ice-T was inspired by Tank, but it's almost word for word. Even the delivery of it, you got to get out, you got to get out. Or Ice-T is, you got to get out, you got to get out. Why? You got to get out, you got to get out. Why? Because the fields are where you die. Very, very reminiscent of Ice-T, or Ice-T is reminiscent of Blood, Guts, and Beer by Tank. And that's a killer song. I love that's the only one that I ever remembered from all these years ago. Now the next song, and I don't know why this is abbreviated to TWDAMO. I don't know why, but that stands for That's What Dreams Are Made Of. I don't know why. Usually when they put, write the song like this, it's because there's a bad word in the song title. And an example is Junkyard, the band Junkyard, and David Roach died a few months ago. And they had a song on their most recent album, and the title of it was WFL, which stands for We Fuck Like We Fight. Or we fight like we fuck like we fight, yeah. I understand that because they are maybe not necessarily allowed to put a bad word, to say the F word on the back of their record. But TWDAMO, it's just That's What Dreams Are Made Of. So I don't know why it's abbreviated to that. Oh my God, this song is incredible. Incredible. This is one that I don't remember it from way back then, but when I heard it, I was listening to my music a couple of weeks ago on random. I have like almost 14,000 songs on my phone, and I often, as many of you do, play them on random or on shuffle. And this song came on, and right away I thought, I wasn't sure who it was. And then as it continued, and I heard the vocals, how this is Tank, caught my attention right away. I thought this song is incredible. Easily my favorite song on the record. This opening riff, very, very reminiscent of Cadaver, Berlin. I talked about that album maybe a year ago. There's a song in there called Filthy Illusion. No, I can't sing that one too, because I'm just going to sing the Tank one again. Very, very similar. I don't know if that was intentional on Cadaver's part. I don't know if Cadaver are Tank fans. I don't know if they've ever heard this song. But when I heard it, I thought, oh my God, this really, really sounds like Filthy Illusion from the album called Berlin by Cadaver. Yeah, that's just an incredible song. And the opening line is, her love is like dragging your balls across barbed wire. That's kind of sets the tone of the song. It's a very, very, more than anything on this record, this is the most heavy metal song, the most, pump your fist in the air, heavy metal, anthemic song. This song should have been played to 10,000 people in an arena. It's fucking awesome. Tank, That's What Dreams Are Made Of. Next is Turn Your Head Around. Very fast, very Motorhead song, this is. Next is Heavy Artillery. These are your orders you must obey. It's nothing much to say about that, but it is a good song. I like every song on this record. Next is Who Needs Love Songs. This is not as fast as the other ones, but it's got a great kind of a more chugging riff. than the other that are more kind of punky, fast Motorhead style riffs. Number 9 is Filth, Hounds of Hades, the title track. The lyrics are very, to me, very reminiscent of We Are the Road Crew. Again, not the Motorhead. It's about, I guess, about their road crew. They talk about a gig in Glasgow, and these guys, I think it's Mick, Flash, and Steve. I don't know what their names are. That they would never miss a gig. I don't think it's fans they're talking about. I think it's their road crew. It's a good song too. The last song of the album proper, before the 2 bonus songs, is the horribly parenthetically titled "He Fell in Love with a," in parentheses, stormtrooper. Stormtrooper. He fell in love with a stormtrooper. Stop it. Call the song Stormtrooper, or call it He Fell in Love with a Stormtrooper. Don't call it He Fell in Love with a Stormtrooper. I don't like it. And I like the song, but this is maybe the only one that I could say a little bit negative about. I do like it, but it just goes on too long, and it's quite repetitive. It just kind of goes on and on. They probably could have cut maybe 2 minutes off of this song. I do like it just a little bit long and repetitive. And then the bonus songs are Don't Walk Away Live. It's a live version of, I don't know where this song originally came from, Don't Walk Away, because it's not on here. And except for the intro where Algie Ward introduces it, and then there's a middle sing-along part in the middle, and at the end when he, thanks you, whatever. To me, it sounds like it sounds like the record. It sounds like it was recorded in the studio. And then the last song is called The Snake. And it's a cover of a Pink Fairy song. I don't know anything about the Pink Fairies, really, other than this is another Motorhead connection. The Larry Wallace and Lucas Fox, who played on the first Motorhead record, well, On Parole. It was it was their first album that they recorded. It was going to be their debut album, but it got shelved, and then it came out. So Motorhead came out first, and then Overkill, then Bomber, then On Parole. So On Parole was either their fourth or their first album, depending on how you look at it. So Larry Wallace, the guitarist from Pink Fairies, and Lucas Fox, the drummer from Pink Fairies, who were in Pink Fairies in the early 70s, were in Motorhead very briefly. I think Lucas Fox only played drums on half the album, or maybe 1 or 2 songs, I can't remember. And so there's another Motorhead connection with Pink Fairies, etc. All right, that is all. I really, really enjoy this album. I'm happy to have it. I need to get more embracing my roots, my heavy metal roots. But I really, really enjoyed it. And that's all. The next, it's not an episode of I Want to Talk About This album. I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to do a different video. I don't know if it'll be the next one or if I'll do it next week. And I have it's not a big, I have an announcement coming up, I think, in the next episode of I Want to Talk About This album. I think I know what album I'm going to do, and it's related to a big concert that is coming up here in Mexico City. Thank you for watching. This has been Tank, Filth, Hounds of Hades.